welcome to the Writer's Corner in our very second edition. DIFF's been alive for 7 years, we've only been alive for 2, so forgive us for being toddlerish, but that's where we are. Welcome to this day. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank all the people it takes. It takes hundreds of people to put this festival on every year, tens of thousands of hours, much of it volunteer, and it starts at the top. It starts with Chadwick and Holly Pelletier, who work this festival year-round, every day, non-stop, in the most creative ways. We're not here if it's not for them. So I have to start there. I got to thank my partner in this block, Scott Simonson. He'll be your moderator today. He and I we work independently for a stretch, and then at the very end, like a marathon, we get it together and we work together. And I appreciate you, brother. You're a heck of a partner. We've got today 4 very talented writers, 4 beautiful scripts that we're going to feature in this block. We've got Michael Moore with the film Retrograde. Cheers, Michael. After Michael, we've got Lizzie Esau with The Benevolent. Let's hear it for Lizzie. After Lizzie, we have Anna Mauis with The Psychic. Thank you, Anna. And last but certainly not least, we have Michael Perry with Nick the Hat. And you guys know, as I've told you, the best part of this job for me is getting to work with you, getting to spend time with you, going into your worlds, into your stories, into your scripts, helping shape, sculpt, getting to know you through the art, because we need the art. We need you. Your discipline and your craft and your commitment is why we have pages to put up on the screen today. You guys are the reason we're here. Film, the genesis of film is writing. The genesis of story is someone sitting down and pouring their heart and their soul out onto the page and then sharing it, having the courage to share it with the world. That's why we're here, because you 4 did that. I'm going to showcase that today in the best possible way. That said, I have brilliant actors that came. Brilliant actors. They're friends of mine, they're colleagues, they're dear souls, and they're very talented. We have in the front row Ron Placone. Izzy Kaplan. Yeah. Abby Dillon. Wildly talented. Gio D'Ambrosio. Tommy Fairfield. Dan Murphy. Bill Petito. And Alan Steele. That's right. And yours truly a little bit, I'll be in there. Those are my actors. In the very back row, we have Moses the intern. It sounds like it could be a half-hour comedy on ABC this fall, so stay tuned for that. Moses will be running a slideshow, you see. We couldn't do this without you either, sir, so I appreciate that. And last but certainly not least, the collected audience here. We're a small family today, right? But we're a family. We need story. We need human connection. There's so much going on in the world right now. This is not a political speech, but what we need is heartfelt, sincere human connection, and we'll find it here in these works presented by these 4 people, and hopefully we'll carry it out into the world. So for the audience who's committed to supporting art, to supporting independent cinema, to dedicating time on a sunny Saturday to come in a movie theater and be with us, I thank you. I thank you. We need you. We can't do this without you. So without further ado, I'll give you my partner, Scott Simonson, and he'll take it from here. Thank you.
Tough to follow that up. As my son goes, yep, he's not going to do it. There you go. Yeah, it's right in the light. Hello, everybody. So, what is it, film festival? But seriously, though, a lot of times I think when we think about film festivals, people that aren't in the know think of things like Sundance and, Tribeca and Cannes. Did I pronounce that right? What was it? All right. But really, festivals, in a lot of ways, and competitions, screenwriting competitions, my fellow screenwriters here with fantastic work, understand that the entry into the craft of screenwriting, the occupation of screenwriting, the world of screenwriting, is very hard. It's very easy to sit at your computer and try to write something Actually, that's not easy either. That's hard too. It's all hard. It's hard to come up with an idea. It's hard to dedicate the time. It's hard to find a balance in your life, like whether you are someone with a professional career, a family, other hobbies, a dog, whatever you have. It's always a lot of juggling of things just to make time to write. Like Virginia Woolf said, a room of one's own is all we need. And sometimes I feel like writers are that. They just need that room of their own to be able to write. I think that for a lot of screenwriters, they don't get snapped up when they write a script and no one just flies in the window and gives them like, you know, the big 6-picture deal. That went out a while ago. These days, not only these days, but you know, back when I started, my journey started out, I was in grad school in New Hampshire, and when I was getting my award for some fiction I had written, they announced me and said, he's the slowest writer, he should write screenplays. And so I entered a competition, a screenwriting competition from New Hampshire, and I just made the first round, and that was enough to have me drive out to California and start to try to be a screenwriter. And then it was just entering competition after competition, and in competitions, you know, and I say this to my finalists, or our finalists today, I said this in the email, you know, I said to you guys, it's, you know, everyone wants to win, but you guys are winners already. That is the bottom line truth. These competitions give you a sense of accomplishment, that you are seen, that your work is solid enough to keep advancing. And so these film festivals that are all over the country, all over the world, these competitions that are all over the country, all over the world, are battlegrounds in a lot of ways, but they're battlegrounds of people who are all in it together in the same way. Because like as David said, we all are telling stories, we all are doing things because we love the craft, and ultimately we're all trying to make our way through this really difficult industry and try to get our voices heard. So I'm excited to bring up the 4 finalists today and then have their scenes read aloud as they should be, because there's nothing sadder than a screenplay that never gets read or seen by anyone except you. So on that note, I am going to begin the introductions with the first finalist we're going to bring up today is Michael Moore, and he is up here for his short retrograde. Let's give Michael a looking stylish, unlike me. So writers aren't supposed to be stylish, but you also have another career.
That's right, yeah. Also a lawyer, so another day and night job that I have.
Yeah, so we'll get into the juggling later in that respect, but you are not from California. Where are you from?
I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Yeah.
Some Nashville fans here.
Yeah.
All right, so the structure of this event is going to be, you know, we'll get to know them for a moment, and then they're going to give us their log line. For a lot of people in the audience, you know what a log line is because you're movie fans or writing fans, but for those who don't, a log line is just like a compressed description of your story in one piece, in one kind of short few sentences. And then we want you to then help us understand what we're about to see by giving us backdrop to what the scene is and what. So take it away with the log line, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. So Retrograde is a story about a couple that is going through this procedure to where memories are being erased, starting with the most recent memory, right? So start with the most recent and go back in time. There's grief that they're trying to escape. We know something tragic has happened, but we don't know what yet. And as we go deeper and deeper into the past, you're going to see that it's more than just grief that they're trying to escape from. You see the love they had, what they were going through, and once you get to the end, it changes your perspective on everything you've seen from the start. So that's sort of a compressed overview.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so set up the scene we're about to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to enter just after the opening scene. In the opening scene, our male character, Aiden, is sitting in a chair in a sterile room, hollow, he has blood on his hands, he's going through something. On the ground, we have Lyra, our female character. She is all but lifeless, just about dead. So that's where we start with. And then Aiden has just finished the first stage of this memory eraser protocol, okay? And then now he's going into stage 2, which takes us 7 weeks prior to the day of whatever happened right here. So we're going to enter 7 weeks prior in this memory. Perfect. Awesome.
It was nice and succinct. Love it. And on point. David?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Retrograde by Michael Moore. Interior apartment night. The low hiss from the memory chamber morphs into the rush of running water. Dimly lit space, minimalist furniture. Aiden stands, both hands gripping the kitchen sink, staring out the window. Lear sits on the bed, knees tucked into her chest.
You're quieter than usual.
Water still running.
Aiden,
He breathes, deep and controlled, looks down for a moment. He turns off the faucet, but keeps his back turned.
There. You've been saying things lately that can't be taken back.
no, that's not fair. Over 2 years, Aiden. That's how long it's been since we started talking about this.
A pause. Then he reluctantly turns to face her, as if the act itself might expose something.
Try to put yourself in my position for 1 minute.
Lear looks at Aiden with soft eyes. She's not angry, but she's pleading for him to listen.
We don't have a minute. Last week was as bad as we've been. I barely recognize those people.
Exactly. That's my point. And honestly, I'm surprised you even remember what happened last week.
His face shifts to regret.
I
Lear stays calm, but sadness is creeping in.
didn't mean that.
It's okay. I know how difficult this has been for you. But I need you to keep your promises. For me, for us.
Aiden drags himself over to the bed. He sits beside her, but with shoulders angled away, eyes fixed on the floor.
I'm trying. But it's too soon.
Then softly, under his breath,
You're not ready yet.
Lear slides off the bed and kneels in front of him, calmly placing her hands on his thighs. Aiden shifts as they make contact, but Lear is steady.
Aiden, baby, we're ready.
She tilts her head to meet his eyes.
It's past time. You're stronger than me. I can't do this without you.
Silence. As Lear holds her gaze, Aiden stays still, but his leg is shaking. A tear falls. The end.
Thank you, actors. That's awesome.
Amazing.
So, I'm not gonna lie, Michael, when I was working on a script late one night, and I read your short, I was reading through it, I was like, dang, those intimate moments. You gotta lock in on those. And you're a newer screenwriter, right? So maybe tell us a little bit about, how new you are, and how you're able to access those intimate moments, and maybe where this story came from.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just started writing in May, so about four months ago.
We hate him already.
Yeah, I think with this piece, man, it starts off with a very sort of dystopian, sterile type feel, so, which was intentional, but I think those intimate moments as we go back are so important to pull you further into the relationship and to really feel what they went through. As you go further and further back, there's even more intimate moments that really hit you as you move through. I think I think I've always been fascinated with how perspective changes emotion, right? So if you think about love in a relationship, there's a love for yourself, there's a love for your partner, but then there's this idea of togetherness, devotion, that's a different kind of love. So I wanted to think about, okay, with memory loss, how does that end up impacting all of those different types of love, and what happens when you make a promise to someone that in the future ends up not being the same person, right? So I really tried to feel that, and I think the reverse chronological structure of the film also helps. You know, I think with the short, I think you can't throw too much in there, and it's already a pretty complex story. So I wanted to use structure to layer on top of the theme to make you feel like you're going through this with them as you move backwards. So kind of like a mirror.
Yeah, a lot of times I think when people talk about shorts, they say they're short but wide.
Yeah.
And yours feels very wide, and you're doing that. Was there any, not to get personal, but was there any personal influences about memory or anything?
Yeah, I've had some family members that dealt with Alzheimer's and some neuroregression. I feel like nowadays almost everyone knows someone that has dealt with, whether it's cancer, Alzheimer's, MS. So I think that was pretty relatable. But I wanted to tell a story about people who weren't necessarily old enough to where they were just grateful to have lived, or saying, you know, let's just take it day by day. These people, you know, still have that passion and fire, and know what's coming. It's an inevitable thing, and they have an impossible choice to make. So I wanted to be grounded in the fact that, you know, they're still very active in their love together. But yeah, definitely have dealt with it with family members, you know, a little older, a little different perspective, yeah.
And, you know, when your bio was up there, your description of what you're doing next sounded very grand. Sounded like you were going to world building, and like, tell us where you're headed, because everything you've written so far has been a short form, right? And now you're bubbling over. You can't keep it contained anymore since May.
Yeah, absolutely. So Retrograde is part of an anthology. If you think about Black Mirror, Love, Death, and Robots, that in that vein. So there's 4 or 5 scripts I finished in that slate. I want to get that to about 8. All like Retrograde in that there's a sci-fi engine, but underneath it's really more about human connection, emotion. That's really what's the core of the piece. So I want to finish that. There's another anthology where I have another script that's in this competition as well. That's a limited series. So that one, similar grounded sci-fi. But then yes, there's a long form series that I'm working on. I just finished a proof of concept script for it, so I'm really excited about that. And it's called Wrench Kings, and it's a story post automation about Earth reemerging after automation has collapsed, and there's sort of a class reversal to where it's now working class guilds that have the power, and that's really excited about that. So yeah, I think that's what I'm.
When is that gonna happen? Like, when are we getting post automation of you?
Yeah. Well, hopefully I can get the script down in pretty quickly. So.
Last question. I'm personally always fascinated by people's process. And I think a lot of us as writers have different processes. You know, some people just kind of walk around and smoke a cigarette and they come up with their ideas. Other people will just pound out the free writing until they get something. Some people start with a character. What is your seed and process that you go from concept to creation?
Yeah. So I normally start with a big what if idea, whether it's philosophical or emotional. And I really want to think about the tone of that what if. What I want the audience to feel, right? Really spend a lot of time on that. If I'm walking down the road, if I'm working, I'm still thinking about that. Once I really nail that down, I want the first scene to really capture that emotion. So I spend a lot of time on the first scene, not a ton of dialogue or maybe not even a ton of action, but I want you to feel immersed in that first scene. And for me, once I get that down, that's sort of my compass for the rest of the script. I know where I want to end up, but I'm not a big outliner, so the plot, the middle point's not super detailed at that point. But once I have that first scene, I sort of see the film in my head, and I start writing. I see it, and I'm writing what I see. And after each scene, I stop, I think about, okay, what was the flow? What does the audience feel at this point? What are our characters going through right now? I get that pretty polished before I go to the next scene, so it's kind of it's not vomit, it's not a vomit draft, but I do just sort of write as what I feel, but then I stop and say, okay, at this point, where are we, and where does that take us next?
So do you have a Google Doc with all these what-ifs, like that you're just kind of?
Oh yeah, there's like 30, 40 log lines and ideas of these.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear it from Michael.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you.
All right, next we have, I'm gonna do the pronunciation wrong, Lizzie. All right. Next we have Lizzie
Esau?
For The Benevolent. Let's have a round of applause. Everybody. There you are, right there behind me.
I thought it was third. I was not prepared.
Surprise. Are you prepared?
Hello?
There we go. So where are you coming from?
That's a really loaded question.
Okay.
Where am I coming from? Do you want something philosophical?
Geographical.
Okay. Phoenix.
Yeah, sorry.
I drove,
Oh, you drove here?
yeah, interesting 10 trip. I was flipping off most of the trucks. Fast lane.
Sounds like it's very relaxing. or cathartic, I don't know.
Just had to get there.
So same situation here. Let's get that log line and kind of hear the big picture of the benevolent.
Phone, sorry.
You can
I
grab
had
your
my
phone.
my lag line.
Your lag line.
My lag line. I could not memorize it. Because
I
like
couldn't
Michael,
memorize your
I've
name.
gotten multiple scripts. What's that?
So I couldn't even memorize names.
Yeah, see, so, okay. Thank goodness for that. All right, log line. Have to breathe because my heart's pounding. All right.
15 years after a botched federal raid on a secretive jury grove in the Arizona wilderness, left a high druid, I don't have my readers either. Oh my gosh. A high druid dead and his spirit trapped between realms, a former detective returns to find her journalist sister, who's vanished while investigating the incident, only to discover the Dwyer, the guy that was killed, has become a grief-fed entity, and the Grove plans to sacrifice her to bring it back.
So what scene, the scene that we're about to see, let's set that up with the elements.
Okay, so at this point, what we're going to see is Nina and Marta sort of in a decompression mode after things kind of came to a head where they are at trying to find out what's going on. And they just had a run-in where they saw the entity, which is allowed to breach at night right now, and Nina chased it off into the woods. And then she's starting to have sight, and she touched something of her sister's that's missing, or she's missing, and it made her go into like a meditative state. She was dragged into a cabin and punched and tied up, and so she's really not in the best mood. And then Marta, her ride or die, comes in, finds her, and then they walk back and confront Caleb, and they're calling him out, and then the road guys from the community show up, strong-arm them, and then they bail. So really that's where we're at. They're very heightened, in a heightened state, and
Intense emotions.
figuring things out and piecing everything together.
Perfect. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Ladies in the car. You're in the car, Lizzie?
Check, check. Have you used this recently?
In the car, yeah? Thanks, on.
Mike's on.
All set. The Benevolent by Lizzie Esau. Exterior, forest overlook, day. Nina and Marta sit in Marta's SUV. First aid kit opened between them. Marta takes gauze on Nina's arm.
Caleb gave Kaya a binding ritual? What the fuck, Nina?
She probably thought it would bring Rose back, or help her find her at least.
And so you're saying Caleb's what, some entity?
I don't know. My head's a mess. I just keep seeing it over and over. Claws, wings, but human too, and its eyes. Caleb's eyes.
She shows Marta the picture she took of the humanoid figure at Caleb's cabin. Wings and claws, human form, human eyes.
It's always at night. Kaya's SOS, the chase after Stella, the morning I saw Caleb wrecked, bruises on his abdomen, cut on his neck.
And when the light came, it bolted. That checks out.
Nina's still looking at the picture.
What if Caleb went into the thing first, looking for his dad, before Kai?
And instead of finding him, the Dreyl found Caleb. Now it's wearing him like a costume.
Nina stiffens.
That's it. Caleb's grief was the doorway. It's what let it through.
She nods at the sketch on her phone.
Look, he even named it Grief Feeder. Kaya, Rose, him, his dad.
Okay, hold on.
She shifts in her seat.
The raid, the Grand Druids killed Caleb's dad, Spirit left splintered, Caleb's wrecked, pissed, grieving, does a ritual to go into the Thin to find him. This Dreyl finds him instead.
Nina nods.
But why do they need Kai?
Marta gestures.
Grab my bag. Book in the file.
Nina digs, hands them over. Marta flips through flagged pages of the Handbook of Druidry, pointing to a passage on Celtic sacrifice.
Solstice sacrifice.
Nina shrugs.
Caleb was just a kid when the raid went down. All he remembers is you standing in the way of him getting to his dad, from protecting him, from you, from the feds.
I saved his life.
He was 10. He didn't know that. And then what happens?
His dad's murdered.
Exactly. And the Grove, they probably remember it the same, except you took away their leader, a grand druid, fucked up the hierarchy.
Caleb's dad wasn't even doing anything, not like what they wrote in that bullshit warrant. He was performing a ritual, probably guiding some poor lost soul to the inner planes. And I just kept my mouth shut like a good rookie.
Well, it didn't help your team was led by an asshole. What were you supposed to do?
Something, anything.
Marta pulls a scanned doc from the file, taps it.
Interviews from the raid confirm solstices thin the air, makes it easier to cross into the Thin, to guide or to bind.
Emma said the same.
Marta flips a page sideways, squints. Nina leans over.
What is that?
Boobs, I think.
Ugh, they never took any of this seriously. They treated it like Waco cosplay, convinced they were boiling babies in cauldrons.
Marta smirks. Nina swipes through photos, tire marks, owl smear on asphalt, charred skin on a branch.
Kaya's gotta be the last piece. If Caleb was what led the Dreyl breach at night, she's how it stays here. Permanently. No leash needed.
So, she's not the host. Caleb is.
Poor bastard may not even know it. Might think he's helping in some messed up way. Still, why Kaya? There's no shortage of grief around here.
It's gotta be payback. The raid. For Caleb and his dad, for the Grove and their Grand Druid.
They lock eyes.
A life for
For
a
life.
life.
Marta gathers paperwork, tucks it back in the file.
Okay, so what now?
We go back where it all started. The raid. Aaron's Point.
Marta checks her watch, settles back.
See, you should've let me shoot him. Camel would've been next.
Nina types on her phone. Marta eyes her.
Who are you texting? You have service?
One bar if I sit like a statue. My dad, he wanted to help. Told him to go home. We had it.
He agreed.
Didn't argue. That's the same thing.
Marta smirks, stretching.
Okay, so he's in a hotel somewhere. Close. Holbrook, maybe? Quinn might even be with him.
Oh, hell. I didn't even think about that. For the love of God, please don't let them do anything stupid.
Marta leans back.
All right, well, I'm crashing for a bit. You should too.
Go ahead.
She sets the phone down, scanning the tree line, grip tightening on the saber.
I'm keeping mine open. No way the Dreyl, there's some hairy road monks are getting the jump on me.
End of scene.
this grove, is it? So, you read things, or we write lines sometimes, and a line wearing him like a costume. When you got that line, were you just like, I know it? Like, could you feel that line?
Oh, yeah, especially from Marta. She's just, she like knows the area, but she's just gritty, and they're dynamic, and you guys nailed that. That was really well done. They're just ride or die. They've been through it together, so they know each other.
It's very pattern driven, like they kind of go back and forth and they challenge each other
Yes,
as well.
absolutely.
Which kind of, did that enable you to write more powerful scenes because they were both such strong forces that they're kind of pulling it out of each other?
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's, this past year has been really cathartic for me, and I guess we'll get into that in another question, but it
Let's
just.
get into it now. We'll keep on rolling through.
I've had some experiences relationship-wise, and so I've, I don't know if everyone's familiar with ghosting, situationships, dating life, even as you get up there in age, and so I just had kind of some really crap times this last year. I'm on a healing journey, healing my trauma.
Flipping off the truckers as you drive.
Exactly, yes, it's very, it's my inner goth child. Still rebelling, but I was able to just write these women to help sort of channel a bit of that out.
And just to take a step back, how many scripts have you written? Like, what's your journey in the screenwriting process?
So I kind of like Michael. I ramped up over the last six months or so, but I have been writing screenplays since for probably 15 years or more. I finished 2. Never really did anything with them. Always working full time, and then I've also been dabbling in novels as well for middle grade age kids. And so finally, given the current political climate in the world right now, especially in the United States, I work for the federal government. So I
You did.
yes. Maybe when I get back on Tuesday. So I'm kind of making an off-ramp plan. So I've got several, I have 4 finished features. I've got an anthology in the works called Coffee and Photography, because I'm also a wildlife photographer, and I love coffee. And it's about ghosting. Each episode's got a different couple in it. They have different outcomes. Sometimes the woman flips them off and says, I'm out of here. The other time she, looks within. So just other ways for me to explore. I wrote one called The Situationship, which has to deal with going over to some foreign country and is a lot of fun.
And the big D,
And the Big Dick, yes. So the Big Dick was a semi-finalist here as well. It did actually place at the Imagine This Women's Film Festival last month. And so, but I think it may have been a little inappropriate for this reading.
We've had that stuff. So this one in particular, where was the genesis of this? I know you told us about the healing journey that you're going through, all that now, but because this is a very specific kind of world that you're kind of diving into. And by the way, I can't drop the word dabbling in novels out of my head, like the phrase dabble in novels. So tell us a little bit what got us into this. Tell us what got us into this.
Okay, so literally, I just thought it'd be really cool to see this big smoky thing rolling onto the road like a tumbleweed. That's literally what birthed the idea. And I'm like, wouldn't that be so rad? Like, can you just imagine driving down just a dark night highway and this thing just rolls out in front of you? Like, it would just scare the shit out of me. So I was like, okay, now what can I do with that? And so then there's got to be a detective involved, but at first it was going to center around Native American culture. They have a thing called a stikini that is actual humanoid owl man, and it comes out at night, and I was just wanting to stay away from that. I didn't want to touch, I probably couldn't have done that service, so I picked on the Druid culture instead. Yeah.
Stikini?
Stikini.
Stikini with rice? I think Are you from Arizona originally?
I've lived there for now about 15 years. I'm from Colorado.
Because it sounds like you're very geographic in how
Yes.
you're seeing the world, and not saying that there's a lot of flying saucers and giant tumbleweeds in Arizona, but do you feel like the kind of landscape speaks to you in a certain way that kind of provides a real setting for your stories?
Absolutely for this one because of Sedona and the vortexes and the energy around that area. It was the perfect setting for that. But I also just wanted to write a badass female lead with a badass sidekick. So
Yeah.
Very last question, even though you kind of partially answered it,
Yeah.
like with your big rolling tumbleweed, is like the same question I asked Michael. I'm gonna ask everyone the same thing. Is like, what's your process in general? Because it sounds like you have a lot of different things going on in life and then on the paper as well.
So it really depends on what I'm writing. If I'm writing a novel, I sleep a lot, honestly. Like I will write and then I just have to go and just not have the page in front of me. And something happens when I'm asleep and then oh, got it. And then I just get up. Sometimes I'll go do some photography, shoot some egrets or some herons and just sit out in nature and just be still and chill. And that also does it. Sometimes I'll write up a synopsis, and sometimes I'll write an opening scene, or maybe even the ending scene first, so I kind of know where I'm going, and then I fill in, in between. Definitely go back. I used to, early on, rewrite until I had the perfect thing, and I stopped kind of doing that, and just started to just get something down, and then you can come back and work on it later.
Letting go a little more.
Yeah.
So you basically wake up in the middle of the night and go to your and write, or in your phone, right? Because a lot of times they say, when we're talking about memory, that when you wake up, you only have like a certain amount of time, even if you try your hardest to remember your dream. And obviously the thoughts you're having aren't dreams, but there's a certain clarity that's coming out of the sleep. So like, do you rush for the pen, or do you rush for something, or are you just like, no, I got it?
Yeah, it usually doesn't happen like at night. It's like in the day I'll take a quick power nap or something. Sometimes when I'm on the pot, I'll be like, oh my gosh, who knew I needed to do that to figure this out? Or
Is
sometimes,
that toilet in Arizonian?
yeah,
Okay.
on the toilet,
Yeah.
on the, yeah, okay, sorry. Yes, I was just gonna say the porcelain god. Or sometimes I'm working out and it's just kind of where you're not so focused on it, right?
Not simultaneous.
And it just kind of comes back, luckily.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Let's hear it one more time. And our next finalist coming up to the stage is Anna Mawis. Did I do that right?
Everybody close your eyes.
Close your eyes, everyone.
You can open your eyes again.
So welcome.
Thank you.
You came all the way here from New York, right?
Yes, I did.
And so you made it, and tell us a little bit about where, actually, I'm breaking my own structure here. Let's stick to the structure. Let's go with the log line first, and then we'll get into all the stuff after.
Okay, so I'm just gonna try to remember my log line, which I'm not gonna do a good job with. Basically, our story follows Amelia, who is like con artist trying to pose as a psychic, and she gets into a deadly debt after like scamming the wrong people. And the way that she finds to get out of this debt is by scamming even bigger people. And she gets involved into this disappearance of this little boy, and she gets emotionally attached to it, and that's how our story develops.
Awesome. And this scene we're about to see?
So this scene is like the very top of the script, is the introduction of our main character. It starts in New York, it's the end of the winter. New York is dirty, that snow, that black snow, and everything's wet, everybody's moody. We are at night, we are in this village, and we are following this woman walking down the street, Angela, carrying like this backpack, like she's holding this big secret inside of it. And she goes down into this basement, which we see there is a psychic reading basement, and that's where we start our movie.
Even that description was very right away. Like snow and it's got a secret in the pack.
I'm really nervous, so I'm a creature of the darkness. I stay behind the camera, so this for me is a little bit crazy.
On. On.
Interior psychic's apartment, reader's room night. Smoke curls upward from a burning cone of incense. The tiny space is dark and cluttered. Amongst old books and half-burned candles, unusual objects decorate a bookshelf. Witch bells ring as Angela, mid-40s, Italian-American, opens the door. She sits down and places a handbag on the table. A voice from the shadows speaks sharply.
Don't put it on the table.
Angela quickly moves the handbag to her lap. Amelia, early 30s, a mysterious Latina, emerges from behind the sheer curtain. She slowly sits across from Angela, resting her hands flat on the table.
Did you bring the fruit I gave you?
Yeah, I did.
Angela nervously searches her handbag, pulls out a round fruit covered by paper towels. She uncovers it, revealing a big blood orange. She holds it up and offers it to Amelia. Amelia doesn't move. She looks deeply into Angela's eyes.
Did you do exactly as I said?
Yes, I did. I put the money in an envelope under the bed and an orange by its side.
And the water?
Yeah, the bowl of salt water next to the money.
Did you light the red candle?
Yeah, yes,
And all the steps?
yes. Everything. I did everything you told me to, all the steps.
Angela offers the orange one more time to Amelia. Still, she doesn't touch it.
Place it on the platter.
Shaking, Angela places the orange on a silver platter. Amelia closes her eyes and begins a ritualistic prayer.
Mother Goddess, grant me strength to do what's right, and shield me from all evil.
Amelia raises the dagger, slowly cuts the fruit in half. Carefully, she opens it. At the center of the fruit, a repulsive furry mass decays amid the red flesh of the blood orange. Angela screams in panic and makes the sign of the cross. Quickly, Amelia puts the orange in a black bag, ties it up, throws it inside a box, locking it with a small key. Angela fights back the tears.
What is that? Jesus Cristo!
Did you see what came out of it? It was drawn by the money under the bed.
Angela brings her hands to her mouth, eyes filled with guilt. She knows what Amelia is referring to.
Evil comes from within. It rots everything it touches. The curse is in your house, in your family,
Amelia points to Angela's
in
belly.
your guts, and it is making your daughter sick.
Mia figlia sono denaro insanguinato.
Angela holds the Virgin Mary chain around her neck.
What should we do?
Amelia looks down at the box.
This is not easy, Angela. I don't know if I'm able to help you.
Please, you have to help me. I'll do anything.
Angela reaches for Amelia's hand.
You can't leave me now.
Amelia whips her hand back, eyes down, refusing to face a sobbing Angela.
There is something I might be able to do, but it's dangerous. I would need your help.
Anything.
She slowly raises her eyes.
And it will be expensive.
Angela reaches for her bag. Amelia stops her.
Not here!
Amelia brings her hands to her head.
This is too strong. I need a moment. Wait for me in the front room.
Angela grabs her bag and leaves. Steve, early 30s, handsome and gay,
comes from behind the curtain wearing a too-tight shirt. He holds a cat in one hand, gently petting it with the other. The cat's fur is exactly the same color as the fur we saw inside the orange.
Oh my God, if that's not Meryl Streep in the flesh.
Amelia drops the act and her entire body language does a full 180. Her posture relaxes and she can't hold back a mischievous smile.
It's like taking candy from a baby. How are people still falling for this orange nonsense at this day and age?
Amelia lights a cigarette and savors it. The cat jumps from Steve's arms and goes straight to Amelia. She pets it on the head.
You will get your cut in pate pickles.
All that money and not a brain cell between those Chanel earrings.
Don't be a bitch, Steve.
Steve grabs the cigarette from Amelia, takes a drag, and puts it out in the ashtray.
That's why we are here, bitch. She wants to believe in magic. We give her a show.
I was so convincing, right? I didn't even blink. I was like, the curse is in the money. Yada, yada, yada.
How much?
We can see the gears turning in Amelia's head.
Careful now, child.
They lock eyes like a silent conversation passing between them.
50,
Too much.
40.
Amelia, 20K is more than enough.
Amelia takes a deep breath, stares into the distance, as if she dares something to stare back.
Enough was never the plan.
What is the plan?
We take everything.
Joe and Jet's season of the Witch plays and end of scene.
Awesome. Thank you, actors. Anna, so your accent doesn't sound like a New York accent.
Yeah, I am originally from Brazil. I am from Rio.
How long did you?
I moved here just before the pandemic, which was the best time for you to move to a really tiny apartment in New York and be locked inside. So I moved at the end of 2019.
And when did you start writing?
I mean, I think I have always been writing throughout my entire life. I think like I started writing scripts when I went to college, which was, God knows how long ago.
Yesterday.
It was a long time ago. So that's when I started like writing in like script formats. So like we would have like screenwriting classes and things like that.
And so this, and as I'm looking at the upside down card
yeah,
that we
you
have,
talked
the
about
upside down
it,
tarot
yes.
cards. So before we get into that and how things changed during the story, where did this come from?
So this idea actually came from a documentary that I was watching about con artists, and they explained this trick of the orange. And I was like, well, it would be really cool if I would write a story about like a fake psychic that's actually like trying to scam people, and then she ends up like getting into this murder mystery situation. In the beginning, I wasn't sure if she would actually have psychic abilities, but you have to watch the movie to
Okay, no spoilers, no spoilers.
Testing? 1, 2, testing. No?
That might be from the other
So,
two.
yeah, like that's a psychic. What is going on?
Oh my God, it's here.
Please save us. So the choice of a psychic, obviously you watched the documentary, it triggered something in you, but obviously there's a lot more depth going on here with this character and what she's fighting against in the world at large. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like this character, I mean, I think everything that we write has a little bit of us in it. I wrote the script a long time ago. It was before the Zen administration. But I feel like it's more, and it connects to our present time when it comes from this place of like feeling like you're being taken advantage of in this world and you're trying to fight back. And of course she finds not the most ethical ways to do it, but that's where it comes all this anger that she has towards these people in our society of like, the world has never been fair to me, why should I be fair to them? That's kind of what is going on at the back of her mind.
No, you absolutely do. And there's an old saying, like the writers probably have heard this many times. When you first start, everyone's like, write what you know. And then that gets boring after a while. And then it's like, write what the...
We're getting audio from the other theater, so they're trying to coordinate that.
Or with ventriloquists. And then the other thing is, then you start to write what fulfills you, things that make you kind of like feel good about what you're doing. And then the last thing is that I was told is write what scares you. And you're kind of going that second and third one, like you're writing what fulfills you, but also like the power that this person is up against in the story is like formidable. And she's just someone with her little kind of con game, and so
that's a really good thought. I never thought like that, but I was even mentioning to my friend that one of the scripts that I really want to write is about my childhood, and that would be the script that would scare me the most because it's the most personal. So maybe I'm walking towards that direction in my writing career, if I can call that.
Yes, you can. You're on stage right now. You can go for.
So yeah, this I feel like dealing with so basically this character, she starts with like this voice that you really don't like her. You feel like she is a mean person, and she's like taking advantage of people that are going through probably the worst moments of their lives. And as the story progresses, you connect with her, and also you see where is she coming from, why is she doing that, and you see this more soft side of her. So for me, the scary part in this script was to create this arch of like, how do I come out of this character that is like a mean bitch, and I am like actually wanting her to win. We actually want her to get the money, and we actually want her to find what happened with the little boy and everything. So that was like the scariest part of it, because I knew that I wanted that to happen, but it's hard to write it and make that happen.
I think that, and probably a lot of people feel the same way, we love stories that make us complicit to some things we would never do.
Yeah, we love an anti-hero.
Yeah.
We love a bad boy.
And
Or
bad girl. And the idea that you're wrestling with in this is like, what is an appropriate opposite equal response to the wrongs that I've had? So how wrong can I wrong you after I've been wronged? And
Yes.
that's always a balancing act for any type of story. And so how do you, because we don't want to spoil the ending, but how do you think about that when you're kind of dealing with it? About how much should the person be actually going to the dark side when they're fighting back?
I feel like when I have written all the scripts that are pretty dark, and they all have like this sort of anti-hero character, like just jumping head first into the darkness. And I feel like I'm not afraid of that. I feel like they have to. The only way for us to like relate to that character is if you feel like you would be that person. You would also like to stare into the abyss, to stare back at you, right? So you would also follow this path of darkness if you were in that shoes. And usually my scripts don't have a happy ending. So so I feel like you shouldn't be afraid of like explore the darkest side of your characters, because you should not write a character that you want to be a good character. They might end up being good. They might have a redemption at the end, but you have to be open to explore their darkness as much as possible. So if the redemption eventually comes, it actually feels like a redemption.
Speaking of which, like when we look at the tarot card, Anna and I were talking about this slide here, and in the opening one, all the cards were upside down, and then they kind of flip back around and they go right side up. I mean, they go upside down. And maybe tell us a little bit about how this kind of almost symbolizes the journey with what the card is and what it means to be upside down.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys are into the tarot cards. This is the symbol of the devil, and when you're doing like a reading for the tarot cards, it has a meaning once if the cards come facing up or upside down. And basically, like this, we were talking about like this, how this represents the trajectory of this character, because it starts like, when the card comes upside down is whatever reverse of the meaning of the card is. So this card means like, when it's upside up. Does that make sense?
Right side up.
Right side up.
Upside up work.
Yeah, it means like greed and like this force of like desire and financial like motivations and things like that. And when it comes to the other side, it touches the more emotional part of it that is not like related to like those kind of heavier feelings. So it's almost like this character follows the card like twisting to the other side.
But still the devil.
But yeah,
Still
still the devil is still in her, yeah. And yeah, by the end of the script, you can see that she's still there. But yeah.
I mean, that's very cool. Also, just to kind of like round out what I've been asking everyone else, just about process, like what's your process?
Music really inspires me. That's, you can see in the script, there's a song over there. So whenever I'm like listening to music, ideas, every song is a micro script, right? Every song tells a story about something that happens to someone. Even if they have no lyrics, you can feel the emotions coming through the instruments and everything. So whenever I'm listening to music, I get really inspired by it, and stories just come in my head, and usually it comes through the voice of a character. My characters have voices, so I can hear them speaking, and I can hear them like saying some lines, and I start like writing those lines, and I start developing those characters, and they write their own story basically. Because once I know who this person is, I know how they will like act in this world that I'm shaping.
So my last question is, my son's in the audience, so he knows that I cannot write if there's any lyrics in music. Like I have to like just, yes, other people are probably like me. But you sounds like you might be the type that's like listening to music and writing.
No, when I'm writing, I cannot listen to anything.
Okay.
It has to be quiet. But like, when I'm like, I don't know, getting in the subway and I have like music here and I start having ideas, then I get my phone and I have like endless notes in the phone that I have to go back and read it, and a bunch of them doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, okay, what was I thinking when I wrote this, you know? But when I'm actually writing, I feel like music might get a little bit on my thought process and get on my way. But
Yeah, because you'll start paying attention to it.
yeah, I start trying to pay attention to what I'm writing, and then like here's Chris Cornell singing something that I really love, and I'm like, oh my god, I love this song. Remember when I was driving that?
And they also say, like, I think writers know this, writing isn't just sitting at the computer. Writing is when you're getting on the subway,
Yeah.
writing is when you're staring at the window, writing is when you're sitting on the pod.
Yeah.
Writing's all these different things.
Yeah.
So you're basically writing when you're listening to music, but you're just not having your hands on the
Yeah.
keyboard type thing.
Yeah, I think the computer part is the physical labor. You know, it's when, okay, I have to put this in a structure, and everybody has to be able to understand. So with the other part of the process is actually at least for me, the fun part. That's the creative part that I'm like imagining these characters and the situations and these places, and how does this place look, how does it smell, you know? And then I'm like, okay, now I have to put this into words, and it has to fit under how many pages it should fit, and
Stupid writing.
yeah, and like rule of thumbs, you have to do this.
Awesome. Well, one more round of applause for Anna.
Thank you so much.
And last but certainly not least, can we have Michael Purdy come on up for Nick the Hat? Yeah. Hello. So, hello. Michael and I grew up not far from each other, Brooklyn and Long Island, and now we live one town away from each other. Feels like kids with On that note, let's jump into your log line first.
Okay, it's about a disillusioned, let me get my phone. Let's make this easy. Try and remember. These days, we can't even remember phone numbers. Oh, not that.
It's okay, you can have some text first.
Okay. Disillusioned by a corrupt system, a blue-collar family man with a talent for tinkering descends into paranoia and crime. He uses his engineering genius to climb the ranks of New York's underworld in the 1980s.
Awesome. It sounded perfect. All right, now we have a scene that we're about to see, and so give us the elemental pieces.
Okay, this is the last scene of the pilot that sort of sets up the world of you're an ordinary guy, and now you're going into something a little bit more dangerous. And
The slippery slope.
yeah, and can you handle that sort of danger, knowing what the consequences are?
And do you want to give us the characters, who they are?
Yeah, so we got Charlie Ray is the head of a crime family in New York, and you got Nick, is a blue-collar worker, blue-collar family man who has this inciting incident where he gets beat up by the police in a mistaken sort of identity way where they beat him so bad they give him epilepsy, so he's corrupted and he's paranoid.
And this is where we start, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Actors, let's do this. You guys need another microphone?
Let's have Charlie right here. Let's have Charlie right here. With his back.
Better lighting.
Better lighting. Let's have Charlie right here. Let's have him right there from the side.
It's actually nice.
Yeah. And I'll give you a chair if you choose to use it. Sure. Yeah, sounds good.
What?
Speak the speech I
I'm
created.
ready.
Are we ready? Brooklyn, 1979. Interior pool house moments later. The door slams open as Nick rushes in. Charlie Ray is hunched over the recorder, headphones on, hands gripping the desk.
You okay?
Charlie slowly takes the headphones off and looks at Nick with a hollow expression.
You done?
Nick nervously begins packing up his tools. Charlie reaches in his pocket and slowly crosses toward Nick. Hands trembling, he pulls out a wad of cash and drops it in his tool bag.
She, just wants to be as free as me.
Charlie crosses to the bar and pours 2 glasses of whiskey. He hands one to Nick and downs his own. Pours another.
You ever think about what you'd do if you found out someone was missing with your family?
Nick hesitates, then takes a sip.
Man's gotta know who his friends are.
Who's got his back and who's holding the knife?
Charlie smirks and gestures for Nick to sit.
She's good, boy. Got this whole other life, you know, psychic bullshit for rich hippies. And you should see how they eat it up. Oh, man. At least she earned something. She uses a fake name to hide she's married to me. Follow your passion nonsense. Calls herself Estrella the Medium. She's not psychic enough to find a phone tap, that's for damn sure.
Nick raises an eyebrow. Charlie laughs, sharp and bitter.
Oh.
She don't seem the type.
Charlie downs his drink and slams the glass on the table.
But this fucking mutt's got big problems now. You can help.
Nick shifts in his seat, leather creaking under him.
I don't know, Charlie. It's not my thing.
No,
I can fix it.
nothing like that, Nicky. We're far from that anymore. Look around. Life is good. I don't mean problems like that. I mean the modern, civilized way. He's gonna have fucking problems, capiche? Otherwise, you're gonna have mutts with badges sniffing around you. And that's the bullshit I don't need on account of this mutt. Times are changing, I get it, but I do want him to hurt.
He tightens his hand into a fist, biting the knuckle of his index finger.
Nicky, you understand?
Nick about to respond.
Get him where it counts. His pocket, his pride. I want to know who he is, where he works, where he banks, who he screws, who he owes. I want to own him. He's a Fed, even better.
Charlie leans in with intensity that makes the room smaller.
Can you do that?
Nick drums his finger against his knee. The only other sound is the faint hum of the fridge in the corner.
You got other guys.
Not for something like this. This is private between me and you. We're doing personal business here, like hiring an electrician. Isn't that what you are? Instead of juicing up some wiring for me, you're following some mud around. Hey, you got the juice, Nicky?
I don't like take notes and watch them.
Attaboy.
Charlie slaps Nick's back, making him wince. He spins to a cabinet and yanks it open with a showman's flourish. Inside, cameras and lenses gleam. Charlie picks up a massive telephoto lens and plants it on the table before Nick.
And you're gonna need this. I wanna watch his effing face drop down to his asshole.
Nick breaks into an uneasy laugh. Charlie picks up a camera and presses it into Nick's hands.
What do you say?
Charlie hovers over Nick, waiting, waiting. Finally, Nick takes the camera.
You're Nick the Hat.
Fade out. Interior, Nick's car, night. Nick drives through the darkened streets, the camera's on the seat beside him, alongside the wad of cash in his tool bag. City lights smear into long streaks on the glass as he speeds through empty intersections. He grips the wheel tightly, knuckles white, every muscle in his body tense. He glances into the rearview mirror and catches sight of his hat. It's almost mocking him, a symbol of the deal he just made. He reaches and yanks it off, tossing it onto the passenger seat.
Fuck.
The faint hum of the car engine fills the silence. His expression hardens, every line on his face etched with determination and simmering regret. This isn't just a job anymore. It's something more, something heavier. Outside, the city rushes by, an endless blur of neon and shadow as Nick disappears deeper into the night. His path uncertain, but inevitable. Fade to black.
Excellent, well done. I think we're gonna have some letters from some psychics that are representation today. Awesome stuff. So, take us. You are someone living in California now. This has a very kind of East Coast kind of vibe to it. Do you tend to write that way? Is your childhood burned in you, so it kind of comes out in a lot of your stories, or you just jump around?
I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where are you in your script writing journey? Because I know, like, you're a man of many hats, no pun intended, because you have jumped around. So, like, tell us about the hats. Like, you've had the journey now you are with the writing.
Well, I wrote more episodes. I wrote a Bible.
Well, no,
You write what you know.
Well, you said you had other jobs. You were like, you were on, like, stage, and you did a bunch of things, right?
Yeah. I did some commercials. I did a really awesome pan cooking spray commercial. You're in the business, you know, and it runs every day. You're blessed. That was really cool. I did Tony and Tina's wedding for a bit in New York City. That was an awesome Broadway experience. Yeah.
And what were you an actor or?
Yeah. I played Tony's little brother, and it really helped me hone my improv skills and things like that.
And
do you able to be sharp?
I'm sorry. Do you feel that when you are writing that it's almost an extension of your acting, like you are kind of almost like going through the scenes? Because I know a
That's
lot-
very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, very helpful, but my method is curiosity. I try to put what I see in my brain onto the paper and then see what is being written out on that paper will project back into someone else's brain to sort of try to match that.
Right, right. No, I get you. It's the magic of communication through the story. And do you ever, because I'm a terrible actor, and sometimes I'll take my own writing and I'll try to read it out loud and I'm like, this is atrocious. But you can act. Do you ever kind of like read your scenes aloud to really kind of get the ear for them? Because you have great dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awful for a while, but you have to just keep churning the lines until they feel real, authentic. But you know, this story is based on real tapes.
Right.
So these tapes, I don't really.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, so when I grew up, my old man had a double life. He was living a whole other life. I only saw him, in the mornings before school and then after school for like an hour. And then as I got older, I started to see. I had older brothers, and 3 o'clock in the morning, a truck pulls up in your neighborhood. You're like, what the fuck is going on?
What was going on?
Yeah, nefarious things were happening, and it winds up that he was really before his time, and he was able to like hook up this system where you put a refrigerator doors. A door has a mercury switch, and that switch works the opposite way. So he found a way to put this switch inside a telephone. Everyone had these old phones in the 80s and 90s, these wall phones that would pick up, and he was able to put this little switch in there so that you would be able to get phone calls recorded without, you want to record a call, it's not going to come through very clearly because, you have to boost up.
Mercury's the conduit.
Well, the mercury switch was the genius of it because you would always have tape, and the tape would, you have to rewind forward this and that to find where you are. With that mercury switch, you would have the handset down, the record would be down, but when you picked up that thing to make a call, it would start recording. And then if you had an auto reverse deck, which came a few years, like about the late 80s, and then he was able to use 120-minute tapes. And then each tape is cataloged with 10-10 wins, where, 10-10 wins, you give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world. It's 9 o'clock on Thursday, 1987, and here's what's happening. And then you just stop the tape and you would hear life, you would hear these calls. And so the calls are based on this, but I also have taken these characters now because of AI. And he's got a lot of calls because my house was wired in bug growing up. It was a family house. I had my aunt upstairs.
How old were you when you found out all this stuff?
I was probably about 12, and we had these bunk beds in the house. And I came home from school one day, and I just noticed there's paneling on the wall, and there's drop ceilings. And it was only a matter of time before me and my brothers pushed up the ceiling. And I'm just all these fucking wires. What the fuck is going on? And he had this control station hooked up in the bedroom. My mom had a shit fit about it, but
Did you ever have like a totally open and candid conversation with your dad about it, or was it more just like the secret in the open type thing?
That's funny you say that. You know the world, yeah. It's sort of like the secret in the open, and you wouldn't talk about that because this is a volatile situation. Sometimes if
You could be being bugged.
Wait, say that again?
You could be being wiretapped, like while you're in that conversation.
Oh yeah, I found calls of myself. And as I was a kid, I knew the phone was being bugged. So I have this call where I call my buddy Jeff, and I'm like, we're like 12 and we know the call, but hey, and we're talking in tongues almost like, hey, come over, we're gonna do the thing. And I'm turning into Nick.
A mafioso at 12.
Well, not really, but we were experimental kids and curious.
And what part of Brooklyn?
In Kensington. But it wasn't really a mafioso type of thing. It was sort of like, how to live and how to punch through things when you're reached with hardship, and how to fix anything. And those are the other things I do. Thanks to my old man, I could fix, build, and stuff like that.
Right. So it wasn't like crime out of malice. It was like crime out of survival in a sense, like in a way. Kind of like what Anna we were talking about in her script as well. Like just like when do the script at all?
Yeah, I mean, it was, oh, you know, what is right and what is wrong, you want to get that out on the paper, you know, but when it's something that's close to you, it's sort of, you know, it sort of gets emotional and, you know, you just gotta let it, you gotta let it breathe. You gotta walk away, you gotta find chunks of time and, you know, being able to use your hands and transition to using your hands to make what you're doing an extension of yourself really helps as well, you know, to get the leverage of it and then incorporate that into your writing. I don't know how to track
When you say
that
use your
back.
hands, you mean write, or do you mean like what do you mean when you say use your hands? I'm just wanting to
Well,
track.
the process of writing for each person is different, but
So what is your process? Because we're going to go into that.
I try to get chunks of time. You know, I really believe time comes from you. It does.
Like the way you shape your schedule, you know, or shape your life, that's where time comes from? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, but time ultimately comes from you. You make the time. You know how sometimes a day can go by really fast and sometimes it goes by really slow?
Yes.
You made that.
And what do you try to do? Like, do you
I try to get curious, and then to create that block of time in the modern world, you need cash. You know, so I mean like a chunk of time, like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, to sit down with this stuff is not easy because it's really personal, you know? So it's sort of cathartic in a way, like the other writers were talking about.
I would say, like, where does this fall in the, right where you know, right what fulfills you, right what scares you, are you checking all 3 boxes?
Oh, dude, the scariest, that's the scariest thing, is because you're fucking scared. You don't know. What are people gonna think, you know? Is this guy traumatized still? Is he healed? You know, has he worked through it, you know?
And what are you working on now? Like, what's your next project?
I'm still working on this.
You're still rewriting?
Rewriting. Pilot episode is pretty solid, but the rest of the episodes and the world building around it, it's really coming together.
Format and the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you, so you're locked in this world right now, and you're not kind of looking forward to another project, you're kind of still kind of meeting this one all the way through?
Well, there's little offsets of this project because the calls are so awesome. Like I got calls between my grandfather Harry and his girlfriend. He has like 3 girlfriends. You know, he's a really good man though. And later in life, he was going to the senior center, and he was, you know, it's unbelievable calls. So I made these calls into like 3-minute clips, and I'm putting them into like the AI to like make the characters digital and actually have that dialogue move them to characters, and then have the real call play out, and the lips would be synced to their call because they're cute.
So I'm going to confess something here myself. My dad, I found out in the last 2 years, had recorded our conversations. Had a tap on our phone as well.
No way.
Yeah, we had never known that. And my sister's like, yeah, Daddy's got all these recordings, or he did. He was like trying to record my mom and seeing if she was cheating on him or something. I didn't know that was such like an East Coast thing, that like everyone parents were recording us. Yeah. Short kindred spirits, dude.
And you know, and sometimes when you record like that, you don't really want to know. It's like reading someone's diary.
Right.
You shouldn't do it.
Yeah, it's a no-no. It's a very bad thing. Yeah, we got call time. But we're starting to close up. I just want to do one final round of applause. But hold on. You said it, Michael, at the end there, where it's like it takes courage just to do this, right? To get up there and I mean to write and to put it yourself out there and see what people think of it, because you're putting your heart on the page. And you know, this is, you know, the reading for all your guys' scripts. We all wish you guys continued success. This is just one of many, many stepping stones that you're going to be hitting along the way. Now let's have a great round of applause for their future. Thank you all. For anyone that's sticking around, we're going to be having some writers and directors and producers from some well-known films coming to join us for a panel right after this. So please stick around, get a break, take a break, but come back if you can. All right, guys.